You know, E3 came and went, but one of the biggest announcements that came out of it was Arcade1UP announcing three new titles, or several new cabinets, if you will, and some new arcade intakings, if you will. Now we know that last year they came out and they said they revealed and distributed cabinets on Street Fighter, Rampage, Joust, Super Invaders, Pac-Man, Galaga, just all these arcade cabinets. And then recently they just came out with Mortal Kombat. So, or they're planning to anyway. Well, they did, I should say. So now they're planning to come out with a few more in a couple months, if not the next year. One is a Marvel themed arcade cabinet, which will consist of the beat 'em ups, the fighting games slash beat 'em ups of the Punisher, which has never really seen a release in our, outside of arcades, for home distribution. The Capcom, the Capcom beat 'em up X-Men, with the unusual dialogue of "Welcome to Die" and X Chicken, as well as the beat 'em up fighting game Marvel's Superheroes. Price range could vary, but some are estimating this could be around the $275 mark, maybe between $250 and $275. Then the other one that they announced, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This will have two games: the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, and then its sequel, Turtles in Time, which which is one of the more anticipated ones people are looking forward to. And then one of the big ones, probably the biggest surprise, is they obtained the rights to the old Star Wars arcade cabinet. Like I said, they obtained the rights to the old Star Wars arcade cabinet, along with the rights to recreate the actual TIE Fighter controller. And on this cabinet, they will have Star Wars, they will have Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, which is pretty cool. But then they were not done there. They also made the announcements that they will also be distributing two cocktail tables. Now, in case you don't know what cocktail tables are, they will basically arcade cabinets shaped like a table that you would see in restaurants and in Japan if you went to Japan and for a visit or a tour. And they had all kinds of games on there, sometimes just one or two games. Here, they plan to distribute two arcade cocktails along with the seats, each to match with them, of Pac-Man, a Pac-Man themed one, and a Street Fighter Capcom's themed one. The Pac-Man one will have various amounts of Pac-Man from the original to Pac-Land, as well as Dig Dug and Galaga, and I think something else. I think maybe that's about it. And then Capcom will have all the Street Fighters, along with a few Capcom games like 1944, and I think Final Fight maybe, I'm not really sure. But they will have those games as a part of that cocktail table as well. And to me, this is huge for Arcade1UP. Basically, essentially 1 year after debuting, their intentions and debuting what they have to offer and doing it successfully, they've really just hit it out of the park with this announcement at E3. Now, honestly, though, for someone like me, I want to get these, but the problem is I live in a household to where, well, as you can see, room is not a very good option. You know what I'm saying? The only thing I could ever think of doing down the line is getting a bigger shelf, a little bit bigger than that, taking all the DVDs and Blu-rays here, putting them on that bigger shelf, but putting that bigger shelf in the rec room, in the guest room, across from me, and then moving, um, moving these over to here, and then maybe using these two empty ones for something else in the garage or for my mom or something like that down the line, and then maybe putting an Arcade1UP right here. But we'd have to wait and see. I mean, my 40th birthday is next month, and I would love nothing more to probably have something like that in the house. But even if that was the case, the rec room or the guest room is just as small, if not smaller than this one, and it's more likely to be able to house it. The problem is that's where my nephews sometimes spend the night or sleep at when they spend the weekend or the night or whatever. And the only thing that we'd have, and having an arcade cabinet in there might disrupt them trying to go to sleep or prevent them from sleeping. The only thing that, even if that wasn't the case, the only way an arcade cabinet could work going in there is to move a rocking chair that our dog used to sit on and Gus would sit on either into my mom's room so she can have an extra seat to sit on, or move it into the living room for an extra guest seat. I mean, the reason she keeps it is it was once my grandpa's seat, my grandpa's chair. So moving it from there to either her room or into the living room, that's up for debate. The only other option would be the garage, and right now the garage is kind of occupied with a lot of stuff me and my mom have to look through and rearrange before we do anything like that. So, as much as I would love to have an Arcade1UP cabinet probably lined up here down the line, it's going to take time. And they're not. They are some of the first waves of Arcade1UP cabinets are going down in price. So that's good for someone like me. But when it comes to something like these newer ones that I would love to get, it's really up in the air. It really is. The best thing I honestly think that the best thing Arcade1UP can do, it's just my opinion, but the best thing I think they should do is this. Take a page out of what micro, what is it, Microplayer Retrocade is doing with these, the Mini Arcade series is doing. Take a page out of that. Take a page out of that and start selling mini versions of your Arcade1UPs, so that that way if people can't get these systems, then at least you'll have one that they'll be able to play just about anywhere. I mean, companies are already doing that with the likes of Pac-Man and a few other titles. So I think Arcade1UP could really benefit from doing something like that. I mean, think about it. They want to get the license to Star Wars and the old Star Wars cabinet and the Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet and even the Marvel cabinet. Imagine how much more financial success and how much more of a hit these releases would be if not only you sold the in-home arcade cabinets, even along with the stool or the extension stool or whatever it is. Imagine how much more of a success it would be if they also, alongside those cabinets, released mini versions or basically tabletop versions of those arcade cabinets. Imagine how big of a success that would be for them. I'm just saying that's an option they should look into. But honestly, my thoughts are Arcade1UP hit it out of the park. My overall thoughts, though, on these announcements is Arcade1UP hit it out of the park. and God willing, someday, somehow, I will have an Arcade1UP in my household. It's just a matter of time of where and when. And I know some people will be like, well, you don't really need one since, a lot of systems, consoles, uh, you know, down selling the games, the actual arcade games and stuff on the consoles. And that's true. That is true because I do have the arcade game, the Ninja Turtles arcade game on my Xbox 360, along with the, I guess some people put it, butchered 3D version of Turtles in Time, as well as the X-Men arcade. So, yeah, I can see what people would, kind of counter argue and say, why would you want to spend money if you already have it? Because, some people would say the best option is just to get an arcade controller, arcade stick and all that with the buttons and all that, like they use for Street Fighter and all, to just give yourself that arcade simulation. And that is true, and that would be a cheaper option, but we'll wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. It's up to, as my mom would put it, it's up to what God has in store. So I just thought I'd come out here and just give my thoughts on this because I haven't had a chance to. And like I said, I think Arcade1UP hit it out of the park this year, and maybe hopefully the next licenses they obtain or get the rights to, maybe they'll be DC ones. Who knows? Maybe like I said, maybe they might be DC. Maybe who knows? Who knows what they'll be? They could be DC games. They could be pinball. Put a, do that. That's the next step, maybe. But we'll have to wait and see what they do. Maybe those racing arcade games where you sit in the that seat and just drive. Maybe that's the next step. Who knows? But got to give it to them, and hopefully they can come up with a solution that maybe can be an alternative. Like I said, maybe come up with tabletop versions of the already released Arcade1UP cabinets and these newer ones that are coming up as well. So, and hey, like I said, that might help them financially more so than just selling the arcade their in-home arcade cabinets that they're creating or they're distributing. So, let me know what you guys all think though. And again, Arcade1UP, they hit it out of the park, but I think there's more they can do to really capitalize and really get people on the side. So let me know what you all think down below. Who do you think will be the next licenses, or what are the next licenses of franchises you would like to see get obtained by Arcade1UP? And what are your thoughts on maybe them distributing perhaps tabletop versions of these same arcade cabinets, the ones they already did and the ones upcoming, to help out from a more financial perspective for the consumer that wants to at least have something similar to what or identical to what they're selling. Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I'll talk to y'all later.